Welcome ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Moose here, and today we're going to do a state of the game video on Predator Hunting Grounds. We're coming up on 5 months since the game's launch, and as there's been quite a few ups and downs, the game still manages to hold a strong, optimistic community who's excited about what's to come in the game's future. Before we jump into the details, I wanted to reach out to you, our amazing community that you've all helped form about the future of Predator Hunting Grounds here on the channel. With that being said, first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for all of your undeniable support over the last few months as we share our love for not only the game itself, but for Predator film franchise as a whole. I knew when becoming a gaming content creator, I had to showcase games that I really enjoy and work my hardest to build a community around those games. I've always had a major passion for the Predator films, especially the original, and until I heard about the new Predator Hunting Grounds IP, I never expected to be delivering that type of content here on my channel. This game has completely changed my philosophy for this channel for the better because many of the previous games that I've covered either were short-lived or there was no room for growth within the community. With PHG, I feel like I now have a vision for the channel and it's something that I not only enjoy but the community seems to enjoy as well. As some of you have been a part of this channel for some time now know, I used to live stream regularly. I plan on going that route once again in the future, however as a father of 3 children, consistent streams aren't completely in the cards for me at this point. One thing that I've always strived for as a content creator is consistency. With that being said, I'm asking for your help. My main focus is to provide content for you to enjoy, and as I see Predator Hunting Grounds still seems to be in the early stages of life. It's still my #1 passion for this channel, and let's be honest, the game is currently pretty much the face of this channel. I'm committed to bringing you content from the game as often as possible. Obviously, we'll be covering the new updates, leaks, showcasing new characters, etc., but I feel like I have room for more. I'd like to see some suggestions in the comments from you guys on what you would like to see, whether it be daily gameplay videos, like maybe a good Fireteam or Predator game daily, maybe build videos. For example, we can mix and match perks, gear, weapons, characters, and work on different effective builds. Whatever the case may be, I'm definitely all ears to suggestions that you may have, so please feel free to let me know. Alright guys, we got to talk about the state of Predator Hunting Grounds a bit, but one last thing. Now that crossplay invites are available, I'd like to invite you all to our Discord channel for the community. There we can discuss, reminisce, hang out, banter, whatever, and we have a Predator Hunting Grounds sub-channel so we can all squad up, dominate the hunting grounds. I'll leave a link down below in the description. Without further ado, here's my take on the current state of the game. Alright guys, so I wanted to mention that before Predator Hunting Grounds, I've never had much experience with Elphonic games. And I know, but Moose, what about Friday the 13th? Well, here's the thing. When I'm invested in a specific game, I'll ride that said game until the wheels fall off. Like, literally guys, I will play no other games for years aside from that particular game. I look back at games like Destiny, Dead by Daylight, and Anthem. These 3 games alone have dominated the past 6 years of my gaming life, and maybe a few other games sprinkled in. But back to my point, I never really gave Friday the 13th much of a chance because at that point in time I was heavily invested in Dead by Daylight. And yes, I'll admit I was one of those guys who was kind of fanboying over DBD, and I thought that Friday was not even in the same ballpark. That being said, we all know the issues that Friday is having with the lawsuits and such, and the backlash Elphonic has received about the game, even though it doesn't seem to be their fault whatsoever, but I'm not going to say much more about that considering I don't have enough knowledge of the issue to really give my take. But considering the widespread coverage of Friday's issues, I told my uneducated self, like, man, I'm never going to buy a game from that developer. What a mess. Thanks to my love for the Predator franchise, here I am playing an Elphonic-developed game, and it's probably one of my all-time favorite games. I mean, let's be honest. With that said, guys, we know Elphonic is not a AAA developer. We know they've had issues in the past. They're a very small organization that tried to fill some big shoes with the likes of Jason and Predator. That being said, considering the odds, they filled them shoes and they filled them well. At least with Predator. Any big-name developer and publisher can throw bukus of cash at a new IP, bring in hundreds of employees and sell a decent title. With Elphonic, that's not even remotely the case. This is a developer that collectively has a massive interest in the Predator franchise, and despite their funds, or lack thereof, they managed to bring this thing to life better than it's ever been done before. I might get some backlash on that statement, but I'll take it. Now, it might seem like I'm jerking them off a little bit here, but I will be the first to admit, are there issues? Yes, absolutely big time. I don't care how big of a fanboy you are, there's no denying that. Here's my thing, guys. At launch, the base game was $40, the deluxe edition upgrade was $60 USD. Many people thought the price was a bit steep considering Ophonic's past, and they're not a AAA dev. I personally thought it was a bit steep as well, but it had Predator's name on it, so, I mean, here, take my money, right? Here's where I think things went wrong. We obviously had The Thing hit us. I won't mention exactly what it was because YouTube doesn't seem to like that, which mostly likely foiled their plans, caused them to work completely from home, which they still are. Now, I want to talk about Dutch. Obviously the most well-known character of the whole franchise and the face of Predator aside from the Predator itself, the fact that Ophonic pursued Arnold Schwarzenegger for the role brought the character back to life and told the story from the moment he left Valverde up until 2025 may have been the best and worst decision that they could have made for this game. What do I mean by that? For me personally, the fact that I can still play as Arnold himself and listen to his actual voice lines and tapes completely blew my mind, and if the game died tomorrow, I could honestly say I'm satisfied. With that said, my concern is how much does an actor with a profile of Arnold Schwarzenegger cost? Keep in mind, guys, a tiny developer implementing one of the greatest action heroes of all time into their video game. I have no clue about the numbers, but I can't imagine it would be cheap. That leaves me with questions like, how much money do they have left? Did they spend the entire budget on Arnold? Is this why we received the 87 Dutch as well with the same voice lines? Now that we've received Dutch, I think it's pretty obvious that the community wants more. We want Billy, even though Sonny Landham's passed away. Me personally, I would like to see Blaine in the game. But is there enough money to pay Jesse Ventura? What about Mike Harrigan? Could they afford Danny Glover at this point? That's one of my biggest concerns with this game's future. Yes, the concept and potential is there, but is the money there? Sure, they're making some money off of us with monthly paid DLCs, but each month less and less players are buying the DLCs. Another big issue that can make or break an asymmetrical game of this type is balance. No matter how much funding there is in a game, how many DLCs the game can drop, or how stable the game is, if the balance is off, the community is certain to let you know, and it can potentially destroy a game of this type. Each month, sometimes several times a month, Ophonic is tweaking the balance of the game, listening to Predator mains or Fireteam mains and tuning accordingly. Now, a game of this nature, no matter what you do to balance the game, there's always going to be backlash from someone because they're not winning every single game. For instance, a lot of people are saying right now that the Fireteam is extremely overpowered and the Predator stands no chance with the new gear, tweaks, and changes. My opinion differentiates a bit because I feel like, yeah, you can't just jump down into the middle of a mob of Fireteam members, swing for the fences, and destroy everything in your path anymore, but I feel like the Predator has to be played a bit more like the actual Predator now to be successful. Which means planning kills carefully, using every item in your arsenal, being stealthy, things of that nature. Of course, this is going to spark the argument that it's hard to carefully plan kills and take your time when the fire team finishes the mission in 4 minutes, or a band of them is sniping the shit out of you across the map. They see you everywhere even when you're cloaked, you know, that kind of thing. This is why I don't work in game development for asymmetrical games, because someone is always going to be unhappy. I believe this is an issue that Ophonic is going to have to work out, which will involve not catering so much to the community and design the balance the way that they see fit. However, with paid DLCs for new characters, no one wants to take their shiny new Predator or Fireteam member that they just paid money for and get destroyed constantly. I get that. However, I feel like balancing is at the bottom of the totem pole for these issues. Last topic I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is bugs, crashes, glitches. This has been an issue for some, not all, since the beginning. To be honest, I expected to walk into this game from the start with some issues. I speak for myself when I say that my issues have been very minimum since launch. Occasional freezes or glitches every now and then, but nothing game-breaking for me. Others, not so much, and it appears with the last major update, the game is experiencing more crashing issues than ever before. I released a video stating how to fix the blue screen issue on PS4 that came directly from Ophonic themselves, and it seemed to work for me and some others, but not everyone. Yesterday, Ophonic released a hotfix that was supposed to address these issues, but again, some people are still having serious issues. I understand that coding can be a very difficult process, but this is an issue that Ophonic must clean up sooner than later if they want this game to last, guys. I mean, let's be honest. We covered a lot today, guys, and I know some of what I mentioned was critical, but as much as I'm a fanboy of this game, I also want to see it survive. And these are some core issues that must be addressed if that's going to be the case. Because honestly, who's to say that we'll get another Predator game much like this one anytime in the foreseeable future? I give massive props to Alphonic though. They've created a game that's so on point with the '87 film, especially with the addition of Dutch in the Last Man Standing mode. It can feel almost like you're controlling the final moments of the original movie. I have very high hopes for this game, guys, and I really hope that Alphonic sticks with it because they've restored a huge piece of my childhood that I feel like no other developer, even AAA developers, can match. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our State of the Game for the month of September for Predator Hunting Grounds. I really hope you all enjoyed the video, and here's to hoping that the future is very, very bright for the game and for all of us fans alike. I'm really excited to share my thoughts with you, and I know that you guys have a lot of questions and thoughts yourselves, so please feel free to share them with me as well. I always try my hardest to make conversation with everyone in the comments, so let me know what you think, and I will reply back as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. See you out there in the jungle. My name is Sergeant Moose. Stick around and rock on.